Hello everyone. Today we are going to start with our next session, which is all about filters, how to work with filters inside Photoshop, and how filters affects different sort of images and how do we work on filters basically. So I'll open a few images over here. So I will just go to my Photoshop, open, and then I will go to one of my folders here. And I will open few files here, like I will open some portraits here and some different sort of images as well. So we have few images here. You can see on the top, I have this image and some black and white image also. I have some landscape also and some other black and white image. Now, in this image, basically it's a portrait. And if I want to work on this image and apply some sort of effects. So I have here an option which is filter. Now filters are some effects which are automatically installed when you are installing a Photoshop. It comes with Photoshop basically. So you have different categories here. Not all of them you usually use, like for 3D work, if you're working on something related to 3D, then you will only go to the 3D. And if you're working on something artistic, you will go to artistic. For example, this portrait, I want to convert this into a watercolor effect. I want to give a watercolor effect to it so it looks like it's a watercolor painting. So I can go to artistic, I can click on watercolor. Otherwise, I can click on palette knife, it will look like a palette knife. I can click on poster edges, it will become like a poster edges. So whatever style of painting you want to choose here will convert this painting as that. Also, you have colored pencil. It will look like it is drawn from the colored pencil. Now, when you click on any filter, like for example, watercolor, it will give you another window where you will go and it will show you how your settings are and how it is giving you an effect. And same sort of effect that I was showing you before are here as well. Okay, with more organized form and with thumbnail, so you can see how the effect will look like after you will apply. So this is watercolor, how it will look like if I will apply a watercolor to it, and these are some settings to it. Each one of these can be also changed through this drop down menu. And when you do that, each settings come with a different sort of attributes, or you can say options here. Now first, like setting here is the brush detail. Now, this brush detail is very high. It is showing you a lot of detail. You can easily say that like this is his eye, these are the wrinkles and everything. But what if you don't want details to be very high? You want it to be very simple. So you can reduce the brush detail. As soon you will reduce it, it will start decreasing the detail. You will go to this to 1, it will be very less. If you will go to the higher value, it will increase the detail and you can almost it will look like it's a normal picture. But usually details are better when you're turning it into a some sort of a watercolor painting. Now shadow intensity. How much shadow do you want? Now right now shadow intensity of 1. You can see shadows here. And if I increase it, just notice how the shadows will be changed. You can see it is becoming darker and darker. If I reduce it, so shadows are becoming lighter and lighter. So shadow also create an effect here. So it's always better to keep some sort of a shadow, not too high, not completely zero, but something uh, like less amount, because the brush strokes is created through shadows and midtones. So it's necessary to keep shadows so that you can have some good effect. Then texture. Now texture, if you increase, so you will notice that it is giving a sort of a texture, a broken texture here. So it looks like there are some brush strokes. So 0 means no texture, and 3 means there are a lot of texture. So usually you don't go too high, you just stay in less form of it, just like that. So this is how you can convert like a picture or portrait into some sort of a landscape. Now you can see some other form. Those same settings which I was showing you, now it's here as well, but they all are here as thumbnails so that you can all easily see how they will look like just by looking at these thumbnails. Okay. What if I want an underpainting effect, like a painting which is not completed? So that sort of effect you can also have by just pressing over here, and it will give you suddenly a new effect. Now you will notice all the settings has been changed. Here it's not watercolor anymore, it is underpaint. So every effect have different sort of settings. Here now you have different settings. You don't have these settings anymore. You don't have brush detail or shadow intensity or texture, but instead you have some different sort of like settings. You have now brush size, you have texture coverage, you have different sort of textures here. Now brush size, if I will increase it, so you can see it is making my brush strokes thicker. If lesser, more detail. So more detail looks more realistic, but in painting it should not be like that. So I will try to make it a little bigger, so I can have some sort of a imperfection. So it looks like it is a painting. So maybe something like that. Now, texture coverage. How stronger I want my brush texture to it. Right now it is 16 by default. If I increase it, so you can see the texture is now appearing. Now, what is this texture? The texture is the canvas texture. At the moment it looks like it is. I've been drawing this on a canvas. So I can reduce the texture coverage also, or I can increase it. Suppose I don't want it. I don't want an effect that shows me that I'm painting it on a canvas. Maybe I'm painting it on a brick, so I can choose a brick. So it will show me bricks. Maybe if I'm painting it on a burlap, it will show me burlap, like a paper or sandstone. Okay, so different textures you have over here. Suppose I want to show sandstone, but it's a very fine texture. So there is a scaling of the texture as well. So if I will go to the scaling, I can increase the scaling here. And you can see the texture itself is becoming larger. Okay. And how stronger you want, it is defined by relief. If I increase it, you can see it is getting very strong. And almost it will produce artifacts. So not too strong, not too low. Otherwise, you will not have any uh, texture there. So a bit just like that. Now, texture is produced by an effect with the light, that the light is falling from the top. Okay, so that's how your texture will look like if the light is falling from the top. If I will choose a different sort of light, maybe light is coming from the bottom. So now the texture will look like this if the light is coming from the bottom. So you can choose the direction of your light which is falling on your canvas. So maybe I want the light to appear from top and coming from this direction. I will have this sort of an effect. Okay. Now I can invert it. So the light process will be inverted. Instead of here, it will go here. So these sort of different like effects will give you different settings. Watercolor was different. Underpainting is different. Okay. Let's see like palette knife. If I'll go to palette knife, it's like I'm painting with a palette knife. I can increase the brushstroke. I can decrease the detail. Okay, I can increase the softness. And if you are satisfied, you just have to press OK. As soon as I will press OK, it will apply that effect on my like picture over here. Now, if I don't like it, I can go to Edit. I can undo that. Okay. Or what I can do here is that I can just go to my history option by going to Window, then going to History, then click on this button, which is the original image by itself, and it will bring the original image on my screen and remove all the options which I applied before. This is what I will get on my screen after undoing anything. Now, once you have this, there are more after artistic blur. Now, blur you need it's very easy to understand. What is blur? To make any image blurry. Now, there are different sort of blur. There are lens blur, there is motion blur, there is a radial blur, there is a shape blur. Okay. Now, the background, if you will notice here, it's already blur. So let me go to any other image where the background is not blur. Let me open another image, and so that you can understand more easily where the background itself is not blur. So can be okay. So here I have some details, and the background is not too blur here. So here you will see more correct result. If I go to filter, and if I will go to blur, I will see different sort of blur. Now, most common blur that almost everyone uses is the Gaussian blur. If you will click on the Gaussian blur, it will blur your whole image by the settings. Okay. Now, what this area is showing, this area is showing the 100% view of your image, like the complete version of your image. So if you want to see this part, so if you move your mouse over here, you will see the square. The cursor is like a square. This square represents the target that you want to see here. Suppose I want to see this part. So just I will, as my Gaussian blur option is on the screen, I'll just go here, click on it, and it will show me this area. Now you can see I cannot see the flower anymore because the radius of the blur, the Gaussian blur is too high. If I will keep on increasing it, will become blurry, and almost impossible to know what it was. And if I will decrease it, you will start seeing the details back. Here you can see how the details are. So as you are satisfied, you can just go to that value and press OK. But I don't want the blur, I will press cancel instead of OK. Now, in blur, there are many other blurs. There is motion blur. You can check all of them because it's not practically impossible, like possible to show all of them in one class because there are a lot. If I'll go to the motion blur, what does the motion blur do? It gives a blurriness in a motion form in a direction. It's also known as directional blur. Now, this is my angle. This is my direction. Minus 90 means straight. So you can see that if I'm blurring it more and more, so the blurring is going in a motion. It's the same like, for example, a car is like kind of someone is driving the car very fast, and because of the speed, there is a motion blur. Okay, so this type of blur is known as the motion blur, which is caused by the camera effect where something is moving very fast. Okay, and the camera cannot capture it because of the shutter speed. And what you get is a motion blur, a trail of the same image, one after one after one after one after, and it creates like an effect of a motion blur. So that's how this motion blur works. So if you have any image and you want to give that sort of an effect, so you can do that with the motion blur. For example, if I search an image of a car, okay, now what if this car is just parked? Okay? It's not moving at all. Now I want to give an effect that this car is moving. I wanted to give it a like effect of movement. So what I can do here is that, let me give it a background color. Or just, so what I can do here is that I can just simply go to the filter, blur, motion blur, change its angle. I want horizontal angle direction, which is 0, you can say. And the blur amount distance is too high. I cannot see anything what's going on. So I will just reduce this and fill this. Now, if you will see at this stage, the car has some sort of a blurriness to it. From a normal parked car, it looks like a fast driving car. So that's how a motion blur works. And these are few different uh, ways you can use them. So to give a parked or a, an idea, like an idle, from an idle state, you can move it to the motion state. From a known movement to a movement. So that's how it actually uh, works basically. Now, apart from that, we have radial blur. So if I will go to the radial blur, it will show me two different kind of blurriness over here: radial blur spin, radial blur zoom. First, let's see radial blur spin. Here, it will show me how the result will be. From the center of the image, which is here, it will spin the image. If I increase this, so this is how I will get the result. I want the best quality, so I will click on best, and I want spin effect, and this is how much I want it. If I will press OK, it will start spinning the image like radially. So in motion blur, you have vertical or horizontal, but in spin blur, you have spinning around sort of. Now, what if I don't want this effect on the whole image? I want it to be on the wheels. So what I can do, I can take a marquee tool from here, okay, circular, and I can draw a marquee from on my wheels here, simply just like one here, okay, a little bit more bigger, let it, and then I can go to filter, blur, and I will go to the same sort of blur, which was the spin blur, radial blur. Okay, a little bit less value here, not too high. And now if I press OK, you can see it has only applied on the wheel. Now same effect I want on this wheel as well. Already I made a selection, so I can be on this selection. Okay, instead of moving on to any other tool, I will stay on this. Just move it from here to here. Now, if you want to apply the same effect with the same settings, the shortcut will be, you will go to the filter. On the top, it will show you the last filter you have used. So the last filter I used was the radial blur. Alt Control F. If you will press this on keyboard, it will do the same thing. What it will do is that it will go back to your radial blur that you have used with the same settings that you have applied before. If I will click on it, same setting it will apply here. So now my car is in this sort of a, you can say, like an effect. Other thing I can do here is that I can take my lasso tool and I can select this part. I can draw here that, go to filter, blur, motion blur, and 0. I want it to be in direction, less, like that. And you will notice that it is only affecting the area that have selected with the lasso tool, not the area which was unselected. Like not the unselected area, only the selected area will get affected. I can just press OK and Control D I will press to deselect everything. But you will notice that there is a harsh line over here that shows a suppression between the selection. And this can be easily solved by going to our blur option. If you remember in the first few classes, I showed you this. You can go to the blur tool and then make it smaller a bit. Strengthen, I can use 100% with soft hardness, no hardness at all, zero hardness. And then I can blur this part and you can see that it is not quite blending. Okay. So this sort of an effect I can get with my blur. So from a normal parked car, you can have it in a motion. So this can be used for many other purposes. It's not only for movement. Different effects you can choose for. Now, if we have gone through how to create a text. Okay. So for example, if I will go on this image and I want to write a text over here, I can have a text. Let's make this text a little bigger. And Control T for free transform and let it a little bit. Now I want a blur effect to it, just like it is coming from like a source and it is dropping inside my image. So for that purpose, I can also I can still go to my blur option. I can then go to the radial blur. Okay. And from here, when I will go, it will ask me, do you want to convert this into a smart object or rasterize it? Why? Because it's a text. I cannot apply anything on the text unless it is an image. To convert the text into image, I can choose the rasterize option. Now it is not a text, you can see it's an image itself. I can use this, now the radial blur is there, but this time I will not choose spin, I will choose zoom. And a little bit increase, I will increase the value. Now, if I will press OK, just notice what will happen to the text. As soon as I will apply it, it will apply the filter to itself. So the image itself is huge. You can see that the size is 6,000 by 4,000. That means it's a huge file. So it will take a little time to apply the effect here. Plus, the quality I chose is the best. So best quality will take a little time, not too long. But you can see now it looks like it is zooming inside your image, coming from a source, dropping inside your image. So it's inside your source image. That's one thing you can do with the zooming blur. There are other couple of things you can do here. If you will go back to the filter, blur, and then there is the lens blur, just like a camera lens blur. So if I will go to the lens blur, it will show me this image sort of things. Now, it usually works best if you have a depth mask, but I don't have a depth mask over here. And I can have a layer mask or a transparency mask as a depth mask, but I don't have it. I will work without a depth mask. So I can increase the blurriness over here. Or let's do one thing here. Let's make a duplicate copy of this. Okay. So image duplicate. Okay. And there will be duplicate. Oops, sorry. Wrong button. I will go to edit here. Okay. Or the best way I think is to just press Control J on your keyboard. If you press Control J, it will make a duplicate of this layer. So once you will do that, you will have this duplicate layer. Now I will go back to my filter, blur, lens blur. Now how blur I want it, I can increase it. This will give me a sort of a bokeh effect. Okay. Now, what is the bokeh effect? This, let me here. Something like this. Okay. This is the bokeh effect. You will get this sort of an effect. Now, here you will see that it is circular bokeh effect. You can have any kind of bokeh, maybe if you want hexagon. So your bokeh will look like this. So you can choose any sort of a bokeh over here. So how you will do that from here? At this stage, my bokeh is hexagon. I will keep it hexagon. And the bokeh effect I will get is the hexagon. I have to get the dot to blur it. Okay. And these are the rotation of the hexagon. So you can see the hexagon are in this direction. If I will change it, it will start rotating. So you can see that it's rotating as well. I can increase the brightness of the background of the, sorry, the blurriness through setting these. Now you can see the bokeh is becoming brighter or less brighter. You can add a noise also. Now these are different distribution type. So it's all about what you're looking for. Just go with it, and the result that you get, just press OK once you get your desired result. So basically, it's only about the settings. As much settings you will do. Now I applied it, but I want this effect to be more stronger. I want my background to be more stronger. So simple, what I will do is that I can just go to filter, and you will see this is the last effect I applied. If I click on this lens blur again, it will reapply the same effect on this image, and it will make it more blurry. Now you can see it has become more blurry. If I want it to be more blurry, I can still go. I can go back here again, lens blur. Okay, wait for it, and then it will become now more blurrier. Now, thing is, if I hide this image, I only want the background to be blurry. I don't want this image to be blurry. So what I can do here is that first, let me do one thing. Let me undo the extra blur. Okay. So that I don't want it to be too blurry. Just this is fine. And I will take my eraser, make it a little bigger. Also, I will make sure there is no hardness, zero hardness. If I will erase this part, what will be shown? This part will erase, but it will show me whatever is underneath it. That's how the layers work. So if I will start erasing this, make sure you're erasing opacity, your erasing transparency is 100%. So that 100% it will remove it. Flow is the amount, like a brush stroke pressure, or you can say brush strokes flow. So that you can change it to less so that you can have some little bit imperfection so it looks realistic. So now I will start blurring image. So in reality, what is happening? It is deleting this part. So when it is deleting this part, whatever is underneath, which is on the background, is now appearing. And now you can have something like this sort of effect. This is before and this is after. So you can have such sort of effects with lens blur. So lens blur gives you a lot of different sort of a uh, like different options to make your image more creative. Now there are two layers, so I don't want them to be in two separate layers. I want them to merge. So simply I will go to the merge option, and then inside the merge option, simple thing I need to do is layer and flatten image, layer and flatten image. Now it is merged. Now I can apply any other effect to it, so it will count the whole thing as a one image. Now there is a blur gallery also. So blur gallery is what it just gives you a like sort of a gallery. Let's make a duplicate of this again, like Control G for a blur gallery, and let's go to the iris blur, for example. And when you do that, it will show you uh, different sort of option over it, okay? And it will give you this like circle. Anything which is outside the circle will get blur. If I will increase the blur, you can see anything which is outside the circle is getting blurry. Now I can move the circle anywhere I want. So whatever is outside is getting blurry. Inside, whatever is will remain as it is. And then I can make this inner circle smaller. This is transition. Okay. Like if I will make it increase, so you can see almost it looks like there is a edge, which sometimes is fine if you want that result, but most of the time you want a good transition. You can make the transition something like this. You can increase the size the way you want it. Okay. You can rotate it also. And maybe you can increase the blur from here as well. From here or from here, it's the same thing. So this is iris blur. If you don't want iris blur, you can have a field blur. Field blur, you can go back. Same if it's a whole thing is blurred out. If you don't want that, you can have a tilt shift. Tilt shift is something like different. It gives you this sort of a bar where this area is not blurred. Anything which is outside this area will be blurred. Like suppose if I blur it, notice that this area remains as it is and this change. Now this is my transition. I can increase or decrease the transition, okay, to get a sort of a result I want. So different sort of things you can do with this, the gallery. When you are satisfied, you just have to press OK. Now, field blur, iris blur, tilt shift, path blur, pin blur, everything, if you will notice, is given inside the blur option itself. If you go to filter gallery and blur gallery, all of them are given here as well. So two ways you can do it. Either choose from here, or when the gallery is open, you can choose from there too, in order to see like different effects, how they are like working. And now brush strokes, how you want this any image to have like if you want to convert any image into a painting with specifically uh, focusing on the brush strokes itself. For example, I have this image. I'll go here and I will go to the brush strokes, and I want to convert this into a painting image. So what I can do here is that I can go to the dark strokes, and it will start giving me some sort of a dark strokes over here. Like I have been creating this with a like pencil. Now this effect will look good if I will go to, let me move, make, right? If I will go to image, adjust, desaturate, so it will become black and white. Now if I will go to filter, brush strokes, dark strokes, it will look like I have drawn this with the pencil. I can balance this, and I can black intensity, I can reduce it. I can do different kind of settings here in order to get the result I'm looking for. And some sort of this. So notice that it's kind of creating an effect that it's a sketch. Looks like it is sketched with a pencil. Now you have like different sort of effects here. You have cross hatch, will produce something like this, and will have this sort of an effect. You have edges sort of thing. You have with the ink, just like exume splatter effect, okay, with the spray or some like sort of thing. So that sort of an effect you can also have. So a lot of artistic like stuff you can do with this, uh, with these. So I will Now here you have distort. By the name you will guess distort. The main purpose of distort filter is to distort your image, to make your image look distorted, like not as it is uh, basically a like a normal image, make it like sort of distorted. For example, I have a distort here called twirl. If I will choose twirl here, and if you will see the result over here, let me out. If here is how it is twirling, and this is how it will become after twirling. So something like this, you can have it. Okay. So this is sort of an effect you can have here. Now, where it can be used, it's up to you how to decide where it can be. Maybe in any sort of like artistic work when you're doing, when you're creating a pattern. For example, let's do a from scratch if we are doing something, and then uh, let me apply a pattern effect over here. Okay. So here, if I will go back to distort, twirl, and press. Okay. So here, you can see how this effect is being created here. It will give you some sort of this effect here. Maybe I can choose this area, and I can go to distort, twirl, only this part. Okay, so only this part will be affected. And then maybe I can use this part. Twirl already is there. I will just choose from there. So I can go here, twirl, I can here, twirl. Okay. So a very more like surrealist sort of effect I can have it with that. So many different like you have uh like uh the possibilities to use this effect. Now apart from the twirl effect, let's go to this image and let's see what else we have at Distort. We have ripple. Now what will ripple will do? It will make it look like it is, and like it has been reflected through water. So I can increase the ripple size here, make it large ripples. So if I will press OK, you can see that if I will zoom in, there is a there is a ripple effect over here, like it's been seen through water or something. That's what the ripple effect do. So at your free time, check one by one these because there are a lot, and we cannot cover all of them. At noise actually gives you a noise on purpose. Most of the times you want to remove the noise, but sometimes to make it more creative or for some compositing purposes, you add noise. So either you can remove to make the quality look better, or you can add it to make it more creative or blend with something. So uh, adding noise also is one of the feature. So here I can go and then I can add a noise. And then I get as much noise I want, I can add it. So it will give me something like an old photograph look. Because if I want something some sort of this effect, I can add the noise, and then I can go to image and use levels adjustment here. So it will give me something like this sort of an effect here. And maybe then I can go and apply some other effect. So different stuff you can do that. But what if your image have noise? Like this image already have noise, which was there when the image was captured by itself. And if you want to remove the noise, you can just go to the filter noise, and instead of adding the noise, you will choose reduce. And this will help you to reduce the noise. It will give you the settings. It will show you the your zoomed area. Okay, so you can choose advanced or basic. Usually advanced is for advanced users, but I prefer you, if you're using for the first time, use basic. I can increase the strength of my noise removal, preserve details. Do I care about the details? Maybe not, so I will reduce it. Or yes, I do care about the details, so I will increase. Reduce the color noise. Yes, I want to reduce the color noise a lot. Sharpen the details. It's okay. I don't want to keep it. But sometimes when you remove the noise, you get some artifacts. So I don't want those artifacts, so I can just click on remove. And when I will click OK, so it will try its best to remove as much noise it can from my image. So little hard to notice, but you will see that it did some work to remove the noise. So not too hard, like noticeable, but if you undo and redo, so you can see that there is some noise removal. Now, apart from noise removal, you can pixelate your image. You can make your image looks half-tone, like in the comic books, you can do that. And you can choose different channels over here to reduce that. It's basically a little bit advanced, but if you want to do a half-tone, you just play with this settings. Maybe I will choose 3 and press OK. 3 is too low. 4 and press OK. And you will see that there is a half-tone effect here. So instead of 4, let's put a higher value. Maybe 25. So you can see the half-tone is more bigger. Okay. And if you want it to be more bigger, so you can go to pixelate half-tone and instead of 25, maybe 100, much more bigger. And you will see this sort of an effect. Okay. So this is how you can work with the half-tone here. Pixelate basically works on the pixels. You will see a lot of different options, like mosaic. If I will choose mosaic, increase the value, you can see how the pixels are getting affected. Okay, so this is mosaic effect. And now then you have in the pixelate fragment. So here it will give you some fragment option, but basically it for smaller image it will work. So let's try some other one. Crystallize will make your image like a crystal. You can see that here. I'll choose this big crystal, so you can see your image will become something. So basically, working with pixels, this is how it is. Okay. Now, render is basically like more like a special effect that is rendered on your. Like I want my image to have flames. The flames basically is like you want to create a flame, but for creating or rendering anything, it's better to have it on a black or white screen. So what I can do, I can just go to I can make a new layer, add the bucket tool and add a black color here. And on this black color, I can go to the filter, render, and flame. Okay. And I think here you have to create a path from a pen tool. So let me, where is the pen tool? Here, yeah, here is the pen. So maybe I will just create a path like this. Okay. And then I can go to render, flame. Oh, I think image is too big. So but okay. It was just a warning. So you can see that there is a flame on the path which I made. I can make it longer for some Some stuff it will not work because image itself is too big. And I can do different sort of settings, and you can see it is, oops, angle. So I will say intervals, a little bit randomness. It will quality fine, but fine will be very slow. If I will press OK, it will take a lot of time to do that. Let's see. But there are some, you can save the way you want it to be. Okay. And there are different sort of flames. You have one flame across a path. You have multiple effects across a path. So different sort of thing. Have here. This candle sort of, but I like this one. I will choose this. And there are advanced settings also. Like if you want to give it a turbulence, a little bit more uh, distortion, you can give that. If you want to make it more jaggy, and flame style, violent or flat. I think normal is okay. Flame shapes to the center, it will be like that. Spread, it will spread all over oval. Pointing, pointing looks good. I can randomize the shapes. It will be randomized, or I can keep it as it is. And when I'm done, I can press OK. And it will take a little time now because I chose high quality. Okay. Now, if I want to use this one, if you all remember, there are some blending mode. So if I will choose here the blending mode, which is uh, screen, what will screen will do is that mainly it will remove the black part and keep the lighter part. And wherever I want to use, I can, maybe I want the flame to appear here at the side, I can put it here or wherever I want. So renders, actually, you have to make a new layer in order to work with the render. Same thing, you can have a lens lens flare. So if I will add a black color to a new layer, let me remove this path from the, and I can lens flare. I can also make a picture frame. I can make also a tree. You can do a lot of things. Lightning effect also you can do. Lighting effect, sorry, not lightning. Okay. Then lens flare. So I can have a different sort of a lens flare. There are different sorts. I like this one, and I want it to be this bright. Maybe somewhere here. And if I'm satisfied, I'll press OK. Now I just have to go to normal, use screen, and you can see. Okay. So this is how you can add these rendered effect on your image. And if you like it, go to layer option, flatten image, and it from one image. But if you want to edit it in future, never ever flatten it. Otherwise, you will not be able to edit it in future. But if you do not want to edit in future, you can flatten it. But if you want to continue editing, don't flatten it. Otherwise, you will not be able to edit it. And if you want to continue your edit, also save it as Photoshop file. When you are saving your file, simply you have to choose from here Photoshop PSD file. Okay, the first option. Now there are a couple of more related to sketch. If you want to convert this into a sketch, maybe I want to convert it into a sketch made from chalk and charcoal. So I can have this sort of an effect made from chalk or charcoal or graphic paint or half pattern or plaster. So you can have this different sort of this effect, and it can be used for various purposes. Now you have stylized effect to make it look a little bit like oil painting. If you want to convert it, if you want to add some extrusion to it, like stylize it, make it like 3D-ish, cartoonish, or whatever you want. So maybe if I want to extrude, so extrude, what will do? It will, the image is made out of pixels. Each pixel, it will extrude it. So if I will go to extrude, It will give me some options. Maybe I will choose blocks. Keep everything as it is if I press OK. And it will take a little while to calculate. And then each pixel that this image is made of will be extruded, just like you can see that. If I will zoom in, you can see that each pixel has been extruded outward from the center of the image. And it will give you this sort of. Okay. Now, if you want to make your image blur, it is blur. But if you want to do opposite, if you have any blurry image and you want to fix it, you can do sharpen. You can do sharpen. Shake reduction. Shake reduction is what? Suppose you are taking a photograph from your mobile phone and your camera was shaking. So you can use the shape reduction to remove that shakiness effect. Okay. So you can do sharpen, smart sharpen, and different software like sharpen over here. So if you press it, your image will become more sharpen and sharper. So I have used the sharpen more. So I will keep on using this until I get the effect. So all Control F, I will keep on pressing all Control F, and you can see that it's becoming sharper, but too sharp. Almost I cannot see anything. So this much might work, but it's not sharp enough. Because if it is too blurry, like here, you can see it's highly blurred. You cannot fix it. Small blur amount, you can fix that. So these are, so this is basically the sharpen. Sketch, as I told you, if you want to, sorry, so this is the, that kind of. Now in the stylize, you have oil paint also. You want to convert this image and make it look like it is uh, oil painted. So that too will kind of. And then you have texture. If you want to create a texture effect on it, maybe stained glass. If you go to stained glass, it will convert your image into a stained glass like this. So if I zoom in, you can see each pixel is converted to a stained glass sort of. If I zoom out, you can see that it's made out of tiny, tiny stained glass. So just like that, you can check a lot of textures option over here. Now, videos, for the video, other and these things you don't have to know about, as they are very advanced. And these are some sort of effects that you can download or you can buy from different websites and use it. Now, some effects here are basically Adobe Sensei filters. Adobe Sensei filters means like used with the artificial intelligence. They are very, very highly, you can say, uh, something which is based on uh, artificial intelligence, something which is based on something which is a machine learning process, in short. So let's open some photographs here and let's see how we can apply the effects. Now, one of the effects here is basically phi. I will open a portrait of a person, go to liquify, and first thing I want to do here is the manual liquify, and there is a face tool. I will go to the face tool here. On the face tool, you will see that I have different options. Eyes. If I go to eyes, if if I say eye size, I can increase the eye size of this person. Okay, or left or right. But if I want both together, so I can just click on this. I can increase the eye size, smaller or bigger. Okay, I can move the eye here, height. Okay, that also I can do. Width, and then tilt, eye distance. This is about the eyes. Now I can go to the nose. I can move the nose up or down. I can make the nose narrow or wider. Mouth. I can make him more smiling, less smiling. Upper lip. I can fix the upper lip here and lower lip also. Mouth width, mouth height. I can fix the face shape. Forehead, I can make it bigger, like larger or narrower. Chin height, jawline, face width. A lot of different thing I can do that here. So this is basically the liquify, and I can do manually. Like suppose I can go here to this button, it will give me the brush. I can maybe change his ears, or maybe I can increase the nose size here. Maybe eyebrows, I can move it a little bit up. So manually I can also change. Okay, maybe I can make him more smiling. And when I'm satisfied, I can uh, just press OK here. So this is one way of doing this. Another like I have here is the lens correction. This for basically for the photographers, vanishing point or lens correction, camera raw filters, basically for photography. Uh, Other thing that is which uses with the Adobe Sensei uses is the neural filters. It's basically artificial intelligence based, or you can say machine learning process based effects. So neural filter, if I will go here, neural filter also have some effects. Okay, it has skin smoothing, have styles transfer, and it have beta filters, smart portrait. If I will turn this on, smart portrait, it will calculate the pixels, and then it will perform. Suppose I want him to be more happy. So there is a happy option. If I will click here, it will go on internet, do a little bit process and make him more happier. Let's do one thing because he is already happy. So let's open an image here where we have a neutral person image. He's not happy. Let's make him happy. Uh, so I will go to the beta filters, and that is file art filters. Now he's not smiling right now. There is no expression of happiness here. So if I will click on happy here, so it will calculate a little bit. Okay, I can increase the happiness here. You can see that it is calculating. But there is some error. I think the image quality is not that good, or maybe servers is down, or because it works online on online base. Let's check other price. It works. Let's do one thing. Let's open it. Maybe it's this image is either quality. Let's open, or already logged. Let's do one. Let's log in. Let me open it again. I think I have to log in with my Adobe Cloud account. Maybe for that purpose. Maybe because of that it is. Because it, Okay, so here, let me log in now. Uh, it's logging right now. Okay, so now I'm logged in. Now, if I'll go here, and I will now I'll turn on the smart filter. Now he's not smiling. So if I will go to happiness and increase the amount of making him happy. So there was an error. There's something sort of an error. You can try this. I don't know what is going on here, but it should make him look happier. Like, it will change his expression. For some reason, I don't know why it's not working. There's some issue with the cloud. So, but you can check later on and see on your computers with your version and check. Maybe it's my computer is not connected or something, like there is some issue there. But that's, you will get some like sort of like, more like different like results. So it is based on like machine learning process, all this neural filters. So try this neural filter on your computer and you will see all the whole detail. So that's all for the elements of like image element of multimedia. And hopefully we will move to, in our next like lessons, we will move to the audio. And the software we will use for the audio is Adobe Audition, or like Audition. It's a free software that you can get it from the Adobe Audition, sorry, Audacity, not Audition, Audacity. So Audacity is basically a free software and it's an open source software. You can see this website here. I can give you the website on the chat window also. It's a free software you can download from their website for any operating system you're using, Windows, Mac, Linux, or whatever. And it's a pretty good software, a lot of effects it gives you, and uh, like very interesting tool to work on audio itself. So hopefully you'll download this, and by the next class we will move to Adobe Audacity, like sorry, Audacity, and we will work over here. It's open source software. It's not from Adobe. It's uh, basically like an itself is an open source like software. Okay. So see you guys in the next class. Till then, like take care, and I hope you have understood everything about the uh, the image element of Adobe. So take care, and we'll meet in the next class with a new element, which is audio, and we will start working with Odyssey. So bye for now, and take care.